Good afternoon. My name's Dean Mazzarella, Mayor for the city. Just made it. I don't know. I'm a mess, I guess. It's just busy, busy days. And let's see if I can get here. This one's going to probably, people ask me why I can't keep my phone charged. Well, because most of the time I'm on it. And let's see. Okay. So there we go. Good afternoon. My name's... That's me. Okay. Hey, we're ready to roll. Rock and rollers. Did you know rock and rollers listen to this show at 4 o'clock? And watch this show? So thank you. And what a beautiful day. This morning, we started out up on a beautiful hill. I could just tell it's going to be the perfect day. I hope the views were good behind me. I hope you could see. I was kind of taking my camera on a little tripod and moving it around, and I hope the quality was half decent. I didn't want to disclose where I was because it's somebody's home, and so even if you know where it is, just keep it between us, as they say. So lots going on, like so much going on. The phones are ringing because, well, people want to know what's open, what's closed, can I open? So much circulating, and so we're doing our very best to get that information out as fast as we can. So we read through everything, and then we get these things from associations, the Mass Association of this and the Mass Association of Scholastics, and they want us to take a peek at their version. Then we get different groups who are trying to get us to help them to get their businesses open, and so it's been a wild ride, but we are sort of tackling the issues as they come one by one, and it's full speed ahead, and we're trying not to slow things down. So if for some reason you didn't get a call back, there's a text or a phone call out there that you left a voicemail, and somebody for some reason hasn't got back to you yet, we may miss a step here and there. We apologize. You're not bugging us, but just remind us. Yesterday, I can't even tell you how many messages on Facebook, and they're the whole gamut. They're everywhere. And emails, but what the good part is that people have confidence in us, I believe, and they know that this is their government serving them, and they believe if it's important to them, it should be important to us, and we agree. We agree. And so 978-534-7500, extension 0, and that will get you pretty much anywhere. There is an extension for every city employee in the city. Everyone has an extension, and each department has its own phone number, but there it is. Look at you guys putting this stuff up here before I even ask for it. 978-534-7500, extension 0. Obviously, we're closed now, but the calls at the emergency management have been going down for information, and that's fine. So has the state emergency management, so MEMA. So we'll be kind of adjusting and tweaking those numbers. They are non-emergency numbers, so as we tweak them, those hours, we will certainly share that with you. Wendy, if you could update that with Jim LeBlanc tomorrow to find out if they've tweaked those hours, by all means, let us know. We have now given out every single mask that we had. We had a few thousand this morning. They are all gone, and we want to thank everyone today for coming by. And yes, the LeBlancs have their own following at emergency management. They're out front now at City Hall. They're there from 8 to 4 o'clock and teach you how to use the mask. And so anyway, thank you to them. They're volunteers, and we truly appreciate their support. There are cars lined up all over the place today to get those masks. So having said that, going to get some, yeah, sun feels good, huh? All right, let's see. Any questions at all? Just go ahead and Facebook message me, and we'll get you on there with any questions that you might have as things pop up. Had, I don't know how many conference calls today, those Zoom meetings, and how many just phone calls, but we will catch up before the end of the night. So for some reason, if some city department or some worker didn't get back to you, the volume is high. And so if they haven't responded, then don't be shy. You're not being that person by letting us know that somehow we might have missed it. Some days it's just a string of literally dozens and dozens of emails. So it does not hurt to remind us that maybe we missed you, or maybe we haven't got the information yet to get back to you, but by all means. Okay, let's see where we are. today. Let's see. We don't have the numbers yet. We will get them and let you know what they are as we get them. But here we go. Let's do some slides, kids. The electric slide. It's electric. Okay, here we go. State assistance. There are still, here's what I'm worried about. I'm worried that businesses are going to begin to open, bring back staff. If they bring back too many or they don't get the reception that they thought we were going to get in terms of business, then they may back off a little bit and wait. And then if they don't get them, that sort of reception, then they may, in fact, lay some people off or put them on furlough or whatever it might be. So around the country, I know there's stories. I mean, it really depends on which news. And I don't watch TV, but what I do is I listen to a lot of radio, and I listen to, so a lot of the business channels will repeat everything. So I either catch it early in the morning. But for instance, if you listen to Fox Business or if you listen to Bloomberg, it's like two different worlds. They're both business channels. And it is absolutely like two different worlds. And I know people may say, well, it's political, but I don't know how much politics it can play into the whole, the whole area of business. So, as you heard me this morning, the people that cashed out and did well, places like Target and Walmart and Home Depots and Kohl's, and Lowe's and Amazon and all of those people, including Netflix. I guess people were watching Netflix. And, partly the weather, partly the, the fact that we're home, or some people are home. But, this is why it's going to be so important. So many of the smaller businesses that sell the same thing, do the same sorts of things that those businesses do on a small scale, couldn't open their doors. Therefore, they are been sitting for 10 weeks, some more. And so they're going to need a boost, right? They're going to need the local boost. And so it doesn't mean that you have to spend every cent here in the city with every local business. But boy, I see those lawnmowers, just like $2,000 lawnmowers rolling out of those big box retailers, one after another after another. And I suggest to at least give a shot to the local guys, ladies, wherever it might be. Give them a call and say, look, this is the price down at the big box guys. Is there a difference? Even though it just looks like the same product, are those products the same? And somebody that really knows their business and has been in business a long time, they know the business. They know it well. They know where other people take shortcuts, so it may look like the exact same thing, but maybe the parts aren't the same. Maybe in some cases they're galvanized. In other cases, somebody else might use the plastic piece. Nothing wrong with plastic. But so anyway, if there's any possibility in making, in sort of circulating some of your dollars. But on the local end, never be afraid to call local business. And if they get mad, they shouldn't, really, because I've had it happen a million times. I saw a particular product on the website somewhere. I saw a product at the store. And sometimes it's not the same product, and you can explain that. Sometimes it is. And at least give the small business owner a chance to, maybe match it or come close. Remember shipping cost. Remember when you buy something, and if it doesn't work out well, not all people take things back, right? They don't always accept those back. They may charge you for those things. How about when you open that $2,000 lawnmower and the first thing that you see is this little note that says, if there's something wrong with this, do not come back to the store. How's that one after spending a couple $1,000s on a lawnmower or a product that says, first thing, do not bring this back to the store. Bring it to, I don't know, one of them I opened said, where all the antennas down in not Newton, but right after that, where all those antennas are off of 128. And it was bring them all back to there. And I thought, need them. It was a place, so you have to get off the road. And I drove my friend, I let him use my pickup. We went down, we took this lawnmower. We had to go in this industrial park and leave it off. And then they give you a ticket, and then they'd say, we'll call you. And then you got to go back down there to get it. So just give the little person a shot at it, right? It's a phone call, a text, an email, and say, hey, listen, just, I don't mind. Now, if it's $100 difference and the person says, no, that's my price and that's it. It's the same product, but that's it. That's fine, but at least you gave them a chance. But those other businesses clearly this morning, by listening and reading up on everything, clearly did very, very, very well. Okay, enough of that. So my concern, again, is people high back. So right now, it looks like maybe 25%. So if your business was handling, say, at your 100% level, if you were doing about $5,000 a month or $5,000, I don't know what your business is, and you were doing about $5,000 a week, then you should program yourself for about 25% of that. That's actually pretty good, and hopefully it'll work its way up, and that depends on a lot of things. Clearly, there's money to be spent in the economy, and so you may say, well, that's not money that I have, but there is money because people have been spending it mostly on food and apparently Netflix, and now ice cream. So again, share some of those dollars, but the concern yet is how long. So many people may have been placed on unemployment, thinking they'll be back after May 25th or the 18th in this case, and then maybe the 4th of May, but. That could go longer, and then even when you get your job back, there are no sort of guarantees just yet in certain sectors of business. Anyway, if you are unemployed, there you go, mass.gov/DUA. If you are a self-employed contractor and looking for unemployment benefits, like a hairdresser or a hairstylist, whatever you call yourself, don't want to mislabel you, mass.gov, PUA. And SBA, there you go for the SBA. If you have any questions, we have taken everything and put it on our website. I know the Chamber's done the same. But if there are any questions at all, you can go to the website, even when we're closed, and look through it. But there are a number of, I just talked to a gentleman. I said, did you apply for our local small business grant? And he said, no, I don't know anything about it. I'm like, no, we got to get this message to people. And so anyway, if you know somebody, they're not going to be mad at you for sharing this with them. Take this picture. Or go to our website. Everything that you see here today and here is also on our website at leominster-ma.gov. Family Health Line for nursing home patients, 617-660-5399. Sexual assault and domestic violence hotline, 877-785-2020. And we're going to move to the next slide because we're going to get kicked off of Facebook, but not kicked off here. Business questions, there's the phone number, Chamber of Commerce, masstech.org. We'll also help you with state-issued Mass Tech supplies, masstech.org, mass.gov, workforce / you know what? These are all on our web. I don't know why people come up with these things. How about mass.gov? Make it easy for people to remember. Like SBA is pretty easy to understand, but you can find all of this information on our website, leominster-ma.gov. Don't forget, Red Cross still looking for donors for blood, and they might not need it for a week or 2 or 3 out, but they're still booking appointments, and you do need to make one at 1-800-RED-CROSS or redcross.org/Massachusetts. Leominster Public Library. The library will be still online, but next week, starting on Tuesday, they will be accepting back those materials, and I understand there's like a mountain of materials that were lent out. They're going to be taking back those materials. They'll also be lending them out. So they submitted a reopening plan a couple of weeks ago. I know they're going to tweak that, and we will be ready to open to serve the public and the taxpayers on Tuesday and do it safely, right? So we open, but we do it safely. Community resources. United Way, as always. Growing Places was at the Senior Center today. I don't know. Nikki, do you have any information you can share with us about Farmers Market? I think it's about time, that time of year. I feel the weather. They are okay to open. So just a question, if anybody's interested in the Farmers Market, you can contact Nikki Peters at npeters@leominster-ma.gov. Catholic Charities will be open tomorrow, 8:30 to 4:30 at 978-840-0696. Call them. Say, ask them what's available. I'm sure they'll be happy to share with you what they have in terms of resources. And Ginny's Food Pantry, yes, is open. The tracks are fixed. Can you believe this? After years, 27 years of fighting with those railroad peeps, 27 years of fighting with those people, and they come out, make a repair. First, it took 6 months to get them to make the repair. Then they come out and make a mediocre one. This time, they ripped up all of the tracks, reset them, repaved, hopefully, and I say hopefully, fingers crossed, whatever your superstition is, hopefully. So they will be moving on to Marguerite, I think, and if not, so this is probably the best one. The worst set of tracks they weren't going to do at Willard Street, and no, I take it back, Litchfield Street. They weren't going to do it, and so through extensive, I want to word this correctly. Let's see, through extensive diplomatic negotiations, we have them replacing all of the railroad track crossings. That's all I'm going to say. So that's a good thing. And let's go to our next website here. So Ginny's Food Pantry, 10, put it up there, I can't see, 10 to 1, Tuesday through Saturday. There you go. And 978-537-1387. Cases as of Monday, and did you mean Monday or Tuesday? Today's Wednesday, right? Is today Wednesday? I'm not sure. Yes, today's Wednesday. Let's see. Let me just check here and see if we have any new numbers. State numbers. Okay, here you go. State numbers. So this way you can compare them. If you want to put up the full slide, that way people can compare the slides. Total cases are now, it was 87,000 yesterday. It's 88,970 test positives. And that's up 1,045, almost the same as yesterday. And this is really where it's going to make the difference here. Worcester County is up 198, pretty consistent, right? As they average in the numbers to make these decisions. The state is making their decisions, and again, it's on based on some averages. The total test, here you go. Yesterday was 8,300. I'm not sure what happens from day to day, but today it was 13,000. That's 13,000 tests. And again, only up 1,045 when you look at the fact that they were up the same amount yesterday, but they only gave, well, 2/3 of the tests. And deaths are up, unfortunately. We were looking at 65 and then 60 or 74 yesterday. And that's up to 128. Total deaths now are over 6,000. So, you know, I mean, clearly you know the number that we're looking for, and that's 0. So we'll wait for the local numbers if and when they come in. And yes, so let's head to, these are yesterday's numbers. And I know it gets difficult to understand, but let me just explain it this way. In this scenario, there were 469 total test positive. So what that means is those are those that tested positive, and with or without symptoms, with or without extensive symptoms. And if I can have that slide again, because I can't see that far. Okay, so a total of 469 have tested positive since the very day in March that we started keeping track. From that, right now, there's 238 still active cases. However, there are 231 cases off, which means it might have been a month ago, and they're already off, and they've been at least 7 days with no symptoms. So here we go. So the active numbers are now, so these are the ones that were tested positive. And again, when you get from 8,000 to 13,000 tests a day, you are going to get more test positives. We now have in Leominster 259 active, so that's up 15. But we have 252 that have completed. So we have a total of 511. So that is 259 active and then 252 complete. Reopening plan, pretty much the same everywhere. CDC put something out today. I won't go in too much depth, but in terms of can you contact this? Can you get this virus? Is it transferable by touch? And I don't know if they mean touch by shaking hands or whatever, but by touch. We'll have more information for you, and I'm sure you'll hear more, depending on what TV station I guess you listen to or what news source it is. It is amazing to see the different news sources and what is breaking news or what they what they classify as headline or top of the hour stories. But it does fluctuate from station to station and from newspaper to newspaper. So what does it all mean? Stay at home if you can. If you can't, then there are guidelines, and most guidelines for work, and it's pretty much the same. So if you go to work and they're telling you, hey, keep 6 feet away from each other, wash your hands, the same thing you have to do when you leave work, right? So this is a 24-hour kind of thing, unless you're home and you're home by yourself and there's nobody around. But all in all, nothing's really changed much. Wash your hands if you're going to work. They do have put something on the construction sites now. They phased everything in. All the states seem like they're talking to each other. That's my opinion. But as I Google different states, they all seem to have a 4-step process, and they all seem to be very similar. I don't always understand or agree with these in the sense that what's a little mom and pop going to do? I mean, we talked about this morning. I use Qtiques. I mean, they get some customers, but they're like 4,000 or 5,000 square feet. So what is it, 8 people in there at once at the most? And on a Saturday or a Sunday when they're open, it's a little busier. I don't understand the fear. And they're all set up there. I've seen the facility, and I know they're set up and they're ready to go. As soon as somebody hits the switch and says, yeah, go, they're all set. So it's pretty much the same in every state. And so we just look forward to the next step and doing it safely. And I understand the state's trying to look ahead and saying, well, let's watch these numbers. Let's make sure that if there are 1,000 businesses in Massachusetts, let's make sure if we open 5 and it doesn't look like things are going well and people aren't following the proper guidelines, and if they're not, then and the numbers start to go the other way, then I guess we can slow down the opening or back off. But obviously, if they open us up all again and say, okay, you're going to have to all close again, it's pretty unlikely that it's going to happen, right? So there you go, 6 feet apart, wear face masks and coverings, especially if you're going into stores. I know people freak out. I get it. I 100% get the fact that you don't want to wear a face mask. But what if there's a scenario where you do end up with somebody closer than 6 feet? And what if you don't have your mask? What if they don't have their mask? What if you haven't tested positive, but you are carrying the virus, and vice versa? The what ifs, it's managing risk is all everybody's trying to do. And so then you've got the fear factor in there. You've got the liability factor in there. Why do you think nobody wants to open, as we look around the state, nobody wants to open summer camps, nobody wants to open recreation programs? Why? Liability and managing the risk and saying, and so people within these agencies say, well, why would we want to open up and subject ourselves to the risk? What's the risk? Well, if one kid gets sick or one playground or camp manager gets sick, then that starts all this chaos and fear. And is it worth that? And there's the risk factor. How about the liability factor? If, say, somebody does get sick and then, I don't know. So many scenarios that go around and around. I see it all day. There's so many different scenarios. What if, what if, what if? And so what if that happens and then somebody says, you didn't take all the necessary precautions. I saw one of the instructors and they didn't have a mask on. I think that's where they got it. And we're suing you. And so now you get into the liability part of it all. That's real life. Trust me, that is sort of the things that really do happen. The slideshow I sent over this afternoon bounced back because it was too large, so they must have put yesterday's up. Okay. Not a big deal. We got the updated numbers. Let me just go back in case there are questions. Thanks for joining us, by the way. My name's Dean Mazzarola. I'm here for the City of Leominster, and yes, we are bringing these updates. We haven't stopped yet. We bring them to you daily at 9 in the morning, and then for rock and rollers, we bring them to you on at 4 o'clock in the afternoons. And as long as people are still watching, I know not everybody can watch it here live, but from the feedback, people catch this later on, whenever, and they catch it on cable at 4 in the afternoon, and they can watch it later. They rebroadcast this. Sunny rebroadcast this at WLPZ 95.1, and you can catch it on my Facebook, but there are a number of other city departments that share this as well. And so we'll keep doing it as long as you find it helpful. And as I think as businesses open, as you have questions, we'll just keep coming in here and answering them until there are no more questions and just me sitting here. And maybe I'll bring in bubbles or something, and we'll blow bubbles for 45 minutes. But when it's over, it'll be over, and we'll know when it's over. And at that point, we'll just post our updates. But in the meantime, we'll be here at 9, and then we'll be here in the morning at 9. And not sure where we're going tomorrow, if anywhere, and then at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So thank you for watching, and let's do a couple more slides here. So everything is pretty consistent. There is a plan for just about everything. There's a dashboard on the state mass.gov, tells you testing capacity. How are things going, basically, right? What's the test rate, right? And number of patients. This is what they're keeping their eye on. What's going on in the hospitals? They don't want to see us not have the capacity, especially after now closing down a lot of the auxiliary locations. Reopening will be driven. There's the categories. I'm not going to read them to you. Take a picture or go to our website, but it's basically averages of all of the data that I share with you every afternoon. What can open right now? Churches with specific guidelines. They know what they are. Outdoor services are encouraged. We've been doing that since day one, talking to churches, saying, listen, if you have a yard off to the side or a field, go outside. Break up groups. If they're more than 9, you're worried about too many people showing up. Break up into smaller groups, have more services. Maybe that's what's necessary. So anyway, essential businesses that are already open, and I do consider local government as essential. I'm still trying to understand and I always have try to understand when state and federal and local governments say only those essential employees report for work. I don't get that. I'm not sure others will understand that, because in a situation like this, I think most would say our local government is very important at this particular. It's like sending the emergency management home in the middle of a storm and saying, we don't consider them essential. Just go home, and when you get back, then we'll take up this issue. I don't think people would agree. What can stay open? There you go. A bunch of new things that will be opening on the 25th. Hair salons. You can finally get your hair cut. You can bring your dog, leave your dog off or your pet. Then you can go and get your hair cut next door. Car washes for exterior wash only. I don't know. I thought they'd been open right along. That's amazing. Some people just, but again, if you follow all the rules, not such a big deal. As you can see, more and more. It's just what we predicted, right? Week 9 and 10. People are going to get antsy. Businesses start revolting and saying, we're going to open anyway. We don't have any choice. I got to pay my rent. This is the point where I don't have much choice. Why you see all the rest areas are closed, and you see all these cars pull off the side of the road. I suggest to you that they are not picking up spring pussy willows, and they are not picking up redemption bottles. They are sneaking over to use the potty, but the potties are closed. So in total desperation, you got to do what you got to do, right? You know what I mean? So businesses are feeling like they have reached that point where they don't see the reason. They are doing everything and then some to comply, and can't wait another week or 2 or 3, and then they're at the very end. And I do talk to businesses every day and try to provide some hope and ask them to hang in there. Don't throw the keys in. And so far it's worked. We have lost a couple of businesses, but not after trying to work with them. So anyway, that is a key component of what's going on, right? Come on, tell me you haven't had to pull over. Tell me that. Try one person telling me that sometime in your life you haven't had to pull over and use the nature's potty. Tell me the truth. Everyone has. Brad, have you had to use nature's potty room? A little. See, he doesn't want to admit it. A little nod back there. Keith, I can't see Keith. What's Keith say? No. Get up. Come on, Keith. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I'm not believing it. Some things you just can't admit to, I guess. Anyway, everything's going to be opening, right? With guidelines, beaches, everything. But it's going to have some guidelines. So beaches, some beaches around the country, in the state, in New Hampshire, who spent probably $1 million closing their beaches, are eventually going to open, and they'll have conditions, and they'll probably be like half capacity. And what seems to happen is one state says, hey, we're going to do this, and the next state says, yeah, we're going to do that, and so-and-so's doing that, so we're going to do this. It's really easy. This is the easiest exam you've ever had to pass. Social distance, wear a mask when you can't, wash your hands when you can't, get yourself some hand sanitizer. Make yourself some hand sanitizer, right? If you could do just those things, you minimize your risks. Okay, what else have we got going? So there's phase 2 and phase 3. Best thing to do is go to the state website, mass.gov. That's mass.gov. And when you find it, you're going to see what's open, what's closed. They get into the specifics of drive-up windows versus you can go inside. And here are the restrictions. And they did want to show you crowd size, what phase 4 looks like. And what's amazing is they're going to open museums and zoos. And here's a sample of construction protocol. So now they have to bring on a compliance officer. No, I don't care where you are. Don't go to church if you're sick. Don't go anywhere if you're sick. Don't go to Walmart. Don't go anywhere unless you're absolutely, but don't go. I mean, just stay home when you're sick. No handshaking, right? Nobody knows that. Practice social distancing. Workers have to wear cut-resistant gloves. Temperatures must be taken. So we're trying to get, if all our buildings aren't up to speed in terms of taking temperatures, we at City Hall have been, and I know some other city buildings have been in anticipation of opening day, of the buildings opening. So trying to get everybody lined up so they can take temperatures in the morning and all of that, and wash stations and no activities with large groups. So on, samples of places of worship. Take a picture, send it to your pastor, whoever it might be. It's all right there on our website. I'm not going to go through it. It's all common sense. Sample of hair salons, protocol to reopen, right? So let your customers stay outside, listen to radio, bring them a cup of coffee, I don't know, whatever it is, make your customers happy. And there's all the standards for them to reopen. And every penny, we're going after every penny we can. Remember, we did appropriate this money, the federal government did, so obviously our job is to get as much from those funds as we can, and sitting on the line is about $3.6 to almost $3.7 million in related COVID expenses. And so there you go. Grand Office of Emergency Management, working with the police and fire departments and emergency management to get that, because everything that we've spent, we can get 75% reimbursement, and that's why it's so important for us to work together as city departments to get all of that information so that we have a, yes, somebody has a high temperature, they would be not allowed to come to work and probably sent to either call their doctor and get the doctor's advice and probably end up at the hospital, but not always. I mean, the doctor may have other questions, but you can't get in City Hall and some other, eventually all municipal buildings, or come to work if you have a fever. All right, so what do they have guidelines for? They have guidelines for everything. CDC is just every day developing new guidelines. Ask the school department, and we'll formally ask the school department and the superintendent, as well as the school committee, to develop a number of protocols or prototypes in developing back-to-school plans. And there's so many ideas out there, 1,000,001. But we have to be ready to go with whatever it is. So we are still under a state of emergency. So all of these large-scale proposals need to be reviewed by our emergency management, need to be reviewed by the health department. That's part of the state of emergency team. So health department, police, fire, and emergency management. So graduation, all of these things will need to be reviewed to see the actual plan and to get approval so that we can move on. So there's one for the workplace. You can go to CDC website. You can find one for the workplace. You can find one for restaurants and bars, youth programs and camps, child care programs. CDC has an answer for everything. It's like a gift for everything. Also mass transit, and there you go. So as we started off the show, if you have a small business, please, by all means, go to our website. That's what you're going to see. See that arrow? It's going to point you right to the local grant that we have. It's a grant. It is not it's not a loan. It's a grant, $2,500. I would say most people are going to comply. So if you have a friend that owns a business that doesn't watch this, maybe they're just too busy working on other things, by all means, let them know. So best thing to do is fill out the application as best you can, and then when you've gotten as far as you possibly can, then call our office. We'll hook you in with Melissa, Wendy, or Nikki Peters. Nikki, did you respond? Did anybody respond about, I'm looking now, about the, yeah, everybody wants to know about the farmers market. So anyway, there's some of the criteria for applying. But honestly, I think, you know, in Leominster, we probably all businesses or most will be accepted, right? Will qualify. State opportunity is also on our website, a chance to gain some state money. And that may be a little bit more convoluted, but fill them out. When you can't, give us a buzz. We will help you. That's why we're here. And these are just yesterday's numbers because we shipped the file here today, and it was just too big, and it wouldn't allow them to open it. But this is as of Monday, and there you see the trends look good there. We don't have today's numbers, but the trends do look good there. It meets the criteria for the state's reopening. Again, confirmed cases, test performed versus, let's see, number of tested and performed by, I can't see that. Anyway, these are testing by date. What that streak there is, that thin line, is test, and the rest is test by date. Cases by county. There you go with a little bit of the demographics. The dark colors are the worst areas, then it breaks down to the middle. But isn't that consistent with density? Isn't it really? I mean, does it just make sense when you look at this particular map? And I look at the data and say, yeah, this was a density problem. So does that mean that you have a higher risk? Let's set aside nursing homes, assisted living, elder care centers. But let's look. Is it sort of say something there? The denser the population, the closer we live with each other, the closer we work with each other, the closer we travel with each other, seems to be worse, at least in Massachusetts. It seems to be. And hospitalization, and again, the right now, 2,533. Deaths confirmed are over 6,000 now. That slide's a couple of days old. And cases, 53 is the average age of those who get the virus. Hospitalization, 68 is the average age of somebody that ends up in the hospital. 82 is the average age of somebody that passes away from this virus. There's the deaths by county, clearly the darker colors, and what you see there are clearly the more densely populated areas. And there's the breakdown for previous hospitalization, underlying conditions. And cases, hospitalizations, and deaths. There's your COVID long-term care facilities. This is all Monday's data. Hospital capacity seems to be okay now. Some areas worse than others, but most seem to have things under control again. And again, if you'd like to get tested, you need to have symptoms, or you need to have become exposed to somebody who has tested positive with symptoms. So you go right up to the hospital anytime between 8 and 4, and then 10 to 2 on weekends. Reliant, same sort of thing, only you call them, tell them you'd like to get tested. They're going to put you on with a healthcare provider. I don't know if it's a doctor's assistant, a nurse. Not sure who asked these questions, but they'll ask you questions. And then based on your response, we'll recommend that you either move towards testing or not. Don't forget, the transfer station is still closed on Saturdays. Starburst is moved to the 22nd. And again, Starburst will look a little different, won't it? Graduation will be August 1st. Leominster tax information, taxes are due June 1st. Wish we could put off another month, but that's not the case, so June 1st. Anything after, any bill after the 10th, meaning water bill, excise tax bill, anything else you got, there'll be no extra penalties. Comcast Essentials program. What a wonderful thing. Nothing but positive feedback. How can't you possibly apply for this? Most people qualify. 1-855-846-8376. And they'll ask you some questions. They might even ask for an ID number. Don't panic. You get to 2 months, 2 months free internet. And then after that, you get, let's see. Oh, did I miss some question? No. And then after that, it's $9.95. It's a bargain. Stimulus checks are coming electronically. They're still coming, as well as in the mail. It is Memorial Day weekend coming up. The Memorial Day exercises. I'll ask Rick Voltor, who I know religiously watches this show. He claims it's one of the most rewarding things that he's ever done in his career after like 30 years in the Marines and his career here in the city of Leominster as a veterans director. He says this is probably one of the most rewarding experiences that he's ever had watching our afternoon shows. So we'll ask Rick to call in tomorrow and tell us exactly what we can expect. We'll be doing some pre-taping here tomorrow, right, guys? Pre-taping here tomorrow, and I believe tomorrow. And some of what you'll see for Memorial Day will be pre-recorded. But, however, we have a tradition of flagging every grave. We will. And the other tradition is visiting every cemetery where any veteran is laid to rest. That tradition will continue on. It'll be 9 people at each cemetery. So myself, the Veterans Director, and one person from each of the military branches will be present, and we will salute and honor those veterans, as we always do, with a smaller attendance. We always have, it's a tough decision, but as Rick Votor and I both agree, it is, we always have good attendance at the White Cross ceremony. We always have good attendance at our Memorial Day exercises. Unfortunately, you know, based on what we've seen, you know, the guidelines that the state has set up, it's just impossible to do and stay within those guidelines. But there are no guidelines when it comes to raking your leaves. You got like 1 week left to get those leaves raked up, and if you want to win some prizes, we have a number of really cool prizes, and if you want to win, rake them up, take a picture, send them to dmazzarella@leominster-ma.gov. Don't wait. Get these things in. How can you turn this down? This is like unbelievable. I'd be raking the whole neighbors. Just the fact that Turf Tender is going to give you a free yard cleanup in the fall when all the leaves fall, I'd be raking up everyone on my street's leaves. What do you think of that? What are you in for? I'm so in for what? What are you in for, Jen? Huh, Jen? What are you in for? I missed that. Somebody's in for something. So there's a person. I don't know. Maybe I missed that post. So get those leaves raked up. So we are going to have some fun. You know, we're not going to be able to do the large-scale events that we did before, but we are going to have fun. We're going to revert back to the past. And we found old pictures on the Telegram and Gazette website, and they were actually, we had already scheduled this, but on June 26th and 27th, we're going to go back in time for some good old-fashioned bargain days and sidewalk sales. That's going to be spread out through the whole city, so one need not worry. And everybody is going to get to participate. Well, you live across from the cemetery, Jen. Get moving. And so, yeah, so everybody's going to get to participate. It's going to be spread out. Businesses, restaurants, anybody that wants to participate can. Registry update. If you have any questions at all about the registry of motor vehicles, 1-857-368-8000. But I will tell you, go to the website first and then call. You could be there for a little bit of time, right? Yes. Participating stores still operating more and more, doing curbside now. More and more businesses will be open for curbside come Tuesday. Yeah, lots happening. There we go. It's time for Dr. Mazzarella's boot camp. Assume you have the virus. Assume everyone you come in contact with has the virus. Assume every surface, somehow or another, whether it's catching a cold, a flu, another virus, is somehow or another compromised. And take action, clean those surfaces, wash your hands, and when you can't, use hand sanitizer. Thank you for all those. We're going to put a whole list together. We have so many. I have a stack of thank you cards. It's got to be 5 inches thick of those who we need to thank, and that's just touching the surface. So thank you to anyone that's helped anybody, helped the city, helped whatever you've done. Thank you. And senior shopping hours, best to call. Restaurants, takeout, delivery. There's a partial list. More and more restaurants opening every day, and we're really pushing. Remember what we said on the show over a month ago. We'll close streets, close off sidewalks, reroute sidewalks, whatever it takes to get our businesses open and do outdoor dining. What's the state saying now? What other states saying? Yeah, this is what we got to do, right? It's just common sense. This is what we've been getting ready for. We are ready. Our businesses are ready to go. And so if it's outdoor dining, they're ready. If it's indoor, half capacity, a third capacity, whatever it is, shields, extra clean restrooms, gold star status, they're ready. Off-premises alcohol, yes. Why isn't the recycling place open on Saturdays? Because they have limited their staff. It's been difficult for them to keep staff during the week, and if somebody tests positive, there are all those sorts of things. So they're not able to staff it on Saturdays, and they don't want to tell you to go there on a Saturday and then find out last minute that they can't staff it. So they have committed to keeping it open Monday through Friday. Leominster parks are open, more and more people. Boy, I couldn't believe how many people are fishing. How many people have said, I have not had the time to fish in so many years, and now I do. Again, follow all of the safety protocols, standards that are in place, and visit our parks. Do not use the equipment, but visit our parks and visit our trails. Leominster-ma.gov, and take a look at the Recreation Department's website. You're going to find everything you need to know about our trails, maps, and then when you get on them, same thing. You'll be impressed when you see the markings that are on the trails. It'll let you know exactly where you are, which way to go, everything you need to know. So take advantage of that. And census, please fill out those census forms, please. And it would be appreciated. We're doing better than the state and doing better than the national average, but that doesn't matter, right? We want to do better, better, better than that. Okay? We want to thank you for watching. Thank you to Keith, LTV, and Bradley back there for coming in every day and making sure we could do this. And thank you for watching. We'll be back tomorrow morning from somewhere at 9 o'clock. And I would just ask you to be kind, be patient, be nice, which is a little bit different than kind, be understanding, take care of other people if you can, be generous when you can, and be well. We'll see you tomorrow at 9 o'clock.